Good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with your sister Keisha, your brother Ashe SJ, and brother Blacksmith will be joining us shortly. Brother Tad is off tonight. We want to send our condolences, love, prayers, and support to brother Tad and his family on the loss of their loved one this week. Um, Thorough Black Talk would like to send condolences to our brother Doggy Diamonds of Doggy Diamonds TV, who lost his sister, which, as you all know, is brother Tad's cousin. So, our condolences to them and their families in this critical time. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope all of you are doing much better than you were this morning, much better than you were yesterday, and definitely much better than you were last week. Shout out to Sister Joyce on the check-in. I hope you feeling better, sis. You know how I feel about you. Shout out to Brother Monty. Give Brother Monty my love. Always, always. Sister Farnessa on the check-in. How you doing, sis? Marcus is still crazy, but what could we do until we get a new regime in place? Let's try to hold on as much as we possibly can and be smart about how we move. The Guardian Archive, straight black pride to you as well. I hope all is well with you on your end, with you and your family. Brother Magnetic Peace Tyson in the building. BK's finest. Always a pleasure to hear from you, my brother. Hope everything is doing well with you down in North Kakalaki, and you're staying strong and in the best of health and mentally and physically. Because today it's hard to hold on to the mental stability with all of the craziness that's going on. Um, we have a lot to discuss with you tonight. We're going to continue our discussion on Black history and discuss some key figures in history that I'm pretty much sure all of you are well aware of, and just give a different perspective on some of these known figures. It seems that oftentimes when we tell our story, or when others tell our story, excuse me, um, the meaning of the fight gets lost in translation. And that's not accidental, but it is definitely a tactic in war. And so, certain figures that I thought we speak about tonight gave us a blueprint on how we deal with the craziness of mainstream media, number one, and at the same time, being clear and concise with our people. Even though you may be speaking through mainstream media outlets, even in streaming, because some of you are watching on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Shout out to the DJs on Twitch. I love you, love you, love you. But even in streaming, um, that we do not own. You have to be clear and concise in your message. You have to be able to infiltrate in places and still have a direct connection with the ear of our people. It seems to me today that you have a lot of people who claim to be activists or really activists, if you will, claim to be of civil rights, but really civil rights leaders um, are put in front of the masses, and it seems a lullaby comes over our people as it relates to freedom, as it relates to reparations, as it relates to law and order, concerning us. Everyone has a chastising movement, those who are selected to be leaders, I'm speaking of, have a chastising voice when dealing with us. Recently in the news, I saw a press conference with New York City Mayor Eric Adams saying that he wanted to scrub the social media of drill music. um, not really knowing too much about it, reached out to his son, and then I guess got a little bit more understanding of what drill is. Anyway, having a meeting with some artist in the field, talking about the messages that are in drill music. For those of you who don't know what drill is, you can look that up on your own time. But anyway, um, I found it to be a chastising piece. You have rock and roll lyrics, you have heavy metal lyrics, even soft pop lyrics that are targeted towards aggressionist groups, white aggressionist groups, and there's never any call to public officials to stop that type of music. There is never any rallying or meeting of artists, of white artists, as it relates to the music that is being played. I remember when The Sopranos was on HBO a little while back. The opening theme song was, um, kind of racy when you listen to it. We all know the history of the Italian mafia and their operations in the United States and abroad. There's never been a call to scrub social media or any other media of the type of music that is geared towards them and their lifestyle. So it's always a chastising piece that's put before Black people, and I find that seriously disturbing. So we tonight we're going to deal with a little bit of that. I want to give some shout outs before we move forward, and our brother Ashe get in here, and brother Blacksmith. Shout out to Empress Filet and the New Day Liberation Radio Network that comes on every Saturday night, 10:30 p.m. on the Blog Talk Radio Network. Shout out to MWM and the work that they are doing on behalf of Black women and the Black family. Shout out to Community Cop. If you saw the last episode with the History Hitman, Mike Grays, and the legal assassin, Noel Leader, it was a great program. You can always catch their episodes anytime you want on YouTube. And always, always, when it is released to us, we repost it on our Thorough Black Talk Facebook page. Shout out to Professor William Mackey Study Group. If you missed the last meeting with Brother Trust Graham, you're going to want to catch the replay on YouTube. And of course, that too will be on Thorough Black Talk's Facebook page. And next week, Brother Trust Graham will be returning to Brooklyn William Mackey Jr. History Club. And I'm going to try very hard to make that one. Um, and then maybe we'll go live for a minute before and after. We can get a quick Q&A with Brother Ray Ray. Brother Ray Ray has been point man on the ground as far as these rallies and protests have been taking place throughout New York City. On behalf of government employees and the citizens of the state of New York, who fought back against vaccine mandates, mask mandates, and in particularly um, city employees who lost their employment, who are now unemployed because of said mandates. Now, they were heroes all last year and the year before, but if this is how you treat your heroes, I want no part of the system. So we're going to deal with that as well. So hopefully we'll get a quick Q&A with Brother Ray Ray next week. Also, in the news, now there is call to roll back these mask mandates, if you will. In public schools across the country, they are starting to roll back these mask mandates. Now, I find it very peculiar that they would do that um, claiming that this is the only way or the only preventative measure that you would have in close settings with other humans. But it is the technology of the medical establishment here in the United States and abroad, because they are not alone. They often say, well, listen to the science and listen to the doctors. They can't be wrong. Here on Thorough Black Talk, we do listen to scientists and we do listen to medical professionals, those who are saying that, the mandates are unjust and there is some funny business going on with jab juice. But, um, it is what it is. We're going to get into that a little bit more later on in the program. Also, tonight we're going to discuss the continued shortages that we have around the country, um, the standoff between China and the world right now, as it relates to supplies and the inflation that we are all seeing across the board. We're going to deal with that a little later on with our brother Blacksmith. And Jim Jones is back in the news. Oh man, I gotta wait for my brother Ashe to get in here and talk about that. It's just crazy, you know. So we got a lot to discuss, family. So I hope you all are ready. Thank you, Sister Joyce. I'm sure Brother Tad and Brother Doggy Diamonds truly appreciate all your well wishes. Um, yeah, that is true. Shout out to you, Brother Ray Ray. Always on the check in. He is the war correspondent on the ground. I'm telling y'all, as far as these rallies are concerned. So that's where I get the 411 from. Um, yes, he said the Guardian Archive said he won't take that smoke to the record labels and white corporate executives who promote that and play the strings. He only has smoke for our people. That is correct. And unfortunately, we tolerate this. We tolerate this. I don't know if you all seen the Showtime hit piece on Bill Cosby. If you haven't seen it, then it's up to you whether you want to see it or not. But it's truly a hit piece. Um, and he too went that route of chastisement. But we'll get into that a little bit later as well. Yes, we are so quick to put the blame on black folks. Many of us continue to put a black face on our problems. Anything going wrong with our people is always the white man's fault. Facts. Facts. It is disgusting. It is, because you're not supposed to be. Never mind. You already know, Sister Marie. It is. And, certain things creep me out. You know, Here in New York City, we already got a nasty city. New York City is one of the nastiest places I ever been to in my life. And I live here. And you will see people riding the subway or going about your day, just walking in the streets. You can tell that those masks were worn days in a row. That's disgusting. I mean, people nastiness is what pass germs around. Period. Yes, Sister Marie, the inflation is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Say what you want, but this NAFTA deal um has put China in a position of power and everybody in need of it right now. Because so many countries are in debt. Everybody knows the US is for sale, just like any other country is for sale. And China has put itself in a position of industrialism, um, at a cheaper rate, labor rate, if you will, for manufacturing. So now they control the market. But in controlling the market, you control the costs. You control when people receive supplies. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, because Brother Blacksmith is coming in here and we're going to discuss about that further in detail with this inflation. And I hope all of you have been heeding to what we've been saying here on Thorough Black Talk, to stock up on supplies, to get what you need. We've been saying this for over a year. Little by little, you don't have to get everything at one time, or you shouldn't have. You should be well stocked now on certain things. Certain things you should be well stocked on. If you aren't, I don't care if you live in a studio apartment, there are certain things you should be well stocked on, you know, and I'll get into that a little bit later as well. Definitely, definitely. But so let's move on, family. One of the people I wanted to discuss tonight is Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. We're going to continue where we started 2 weeks ago. He lost his life in February 17th in 2001, I believe. Um, Medical professionals would say he died from a brain aneurysm. I have speculative beliefs about that. That's just me. But Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad was a master at dealing with mainstream media and the press, in particularly when they would put a black face in front of him, as if it would subdue his connection, number one, in the interview, and also with his core audience, which was black people. He was tactful in that. And I learned a lot from watching him give interviews, and how to be poised and tactful and deal with the interviewer um, as, the assassins that they try to be. So just a quick clip, family, and then we're going to discuss it. Hold on. This clip is an interview of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad by Dominic Carter of New York One News. Now, it just so happens that after this interview, not too long after this interview, Dominic Carter was accused of spousal abuse, attacking his wife. But, we'll discuss that further. Hold on, family. Watch how tactful Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad is in this interview. And you see Dominic Carter really trying to hone in on a message given to him, by his employer to keep himself employed. So hold on, family. Check it out.
You've started with, I'm here in the white man's shoes, and I guess you're headed with the Uncle Tom.
Do you work for New York One?
I do work.
Are you being paid for this interview?
But
do you get a check, sir?
Is that the best shot that you have, the Uncle Tom line?
I didn't call you Uncle Tom, but
you said
you said it better than it could be said. You are here indeed. I believe you are a professional, but I do also believe that as a professional, you have a job, you have a duty. And I don't believe that you are a reporter first. In the way that you have presented yourself to the community, a reporter who reports fairly. I believe that before being a reporter, you shouldn't be a reporter first. You are not a reporter first. You should be black first, with a responsibility. What kind of reporter would sit up and keep telling lies? What kind of reporter would try to confuse his people for a paycheck?
Well,
can you answer that, sir?
Again, I'm here to ask the question.
But can you answer that?
Again, one other
question. Will you answer that, sir?
Minister, I'm not here to answer the question.
What kind of reporter would ask the question? Put out false reports, sir.
I don't know.
You're my brother. I love you, but don't do this, brother. Be a strong reporter. Be a revolutionary reporter. It was Paul Robeson who said the battlefield is everywhere. And so you must battle on the battlefield at New York One.
Police made the move last year to shut down the generator. But you had to know, you're a very smart man, that the city was not going to let you go 1 minute past 4 o'clock. Can one reasonably conclude that you were looking to spark an incident, possibly to spark a riot?
Emphatically no, sir. I was not. And I appreciate the credit that you have given me, but I did indeed believe that there would be flexibility at the end of the rally, because they had promised flexibility, and they had said that there would not be strict adherence to the 4 o'clock. So as you know, and I've heard you say, I had finished speaking. The police attacked an otherwise peaceful rally that had already concluded as I told our people to go on home in love and unity to their families. So I guess to some degree, sir, I did not believe that they would attack at 4 o'clock or 4:01 in answer to your question.
Are you going to honor the 4 p.m. deadline tomorrow?
Indeed, I will honor the 4 p.m. deadline on tomorrow.
Are you willing to vow that you or your supporters will not call for violence tomorrow under any circumstance?
No, sir, I am not. We believe that by the grace and the power of Almighty God and our ancestors, that we have a God-given right. We have a human right, and according to white constitutional law, we also have, according to white constitution, a constitutional right to believe in peace if possible, but violence when necessary. Everything in nature, sir, will defend itself. We should not be the aggressor. We should not be provocative, but we should defend our men, our women, our children, and our elders, as Judge Chin said, in self-defense.
So you're telling me here now that you're not ruling out the possibility of violence tomorrow?
I honestly do not believe, Brother Dominique, as hard as you attempt in your weak manner to press, I honestly do not believe that there will be any violence tomorrow whatsoever. As we present the Million Youth March 1999 7-point program of action, as we present that program to the masses of our people, to the indigenous people called the Latinos and called the Dominicans and the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans and the Red Indians or other indigenous people who will come to join in with us. And I hope you will be there.
I will be there.
Not just as a reporter, but as a black brother.
I will be there in the role solely of a journalist. I want to talk...
But black also, right?
I want to talk...
But you will be there as a black man, won't you?
I'll be there in the role of a journalist.
Only as a journalist?
I'm interested.
Oh, Brother Dominique, I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed of you.
You are somewhat a mystery. I believe you own a brownstone on Stravers Road here in Harlem.
You don't believe that. You know that.
Okay.
In Harlem.
Where else do you live? Do you have a residence in New Jersey?
No, sir, I do not.
Only in...
You know that if I had a residence in New Jersey, it would be back on the front page of the New York Post or Daily News as they put right after my assassination attempt, put the picture of the building I was living in and a map in case someone got lost on their way to my door.
Okay, well, that raises a very legitimate point. How can you claim to attack whites and you were living in New Jersey in a building predominantly...
Sir, I live in New York, and it's white. I live in the state of New York, and it's white.
That's not hypocritical?
Indeed, I live in the United States of America, and it's white-controlled and white-dominated. And I'm now interviewing on New York 1, which is as white as it can be, with a few black spots here and there.
I mean, first of all, it wasn't even an interview, it was an interrogation tactic that we were witnessing. But Dr. Khaled was well poised in his interview with Dominic Carter. Now, for those of you who are not from New York or wasn't here for that Million Youth March, let me just give you, and some of y'all in the chat, y'all was there, you already know, but let me just give you a picture, if you will, on how aggressive the police were for that Million Youth March. You had, of course, barricades, police barricades that were set up along the sidewalk. You know, they were in the street, but along, the sidewalk area, to keep everybody in a contained area. At some point, as it started getting later, getting towards the end, you had police officers, and I'm saying this from my memory, who was pushing the barricades in towards the people. At the same time, now it was supposed to be over at 4 o'clock. This happened at 4:01. You had helicopters that were hovering low over the people. Like, I had on sunglasses, but the dust. First of all, New York is already dirty. dust flying all over the place because the helicopters was coming down so low. And at the same time, police pushing in barricades. So when Dominic Carter talks about if, Dr. Khaled is trying to incite some sort of violence, it was the other way around. It was the other way around. And this is what I mean. We have to tell our own stories. We can't allow these puppet masters and, the puppeteers to get before us and try to spin a narrative, especially when they know the narrative is false. You understand what I'm saying? So in that interview, Dominic Carter already knew what it was. He didn't try to find out anything about Dr. Khaled until later on in the interview when he tried to interrogate him about his work for Black people. And we'll touch on that in a minute, but I'm gonna go to some of y'all thoughts real quick. Yes, called him to the carpet. Nothing like an intelligent Black man. That is facts. Loved him too, Sister Marie. Facts. Um, yes, one of the baddest to ever do it. Could you imagine if those of that spirit were left alone? Where will we be today as a people? Because remember now, Dr. Khaled, like Malcolm, had the ear of the youth. They had the ear of the street. True, Sister Pat, very masterful. Very masterful. Sister Pat said, I was there. Overkill by the NYP. That facts. If y'all wasn't there, those of us who was, trust me, it was severe overkill. Giuliani was on something that day. Brother Magnetic Peace, he said, it's customary to use our mentality, sleeping people against their own best interest, which is the liberation of our people. I remember this so-called New York One interview. The Million Youth March was fire. Facts. The city did everything to stop it and it failed. He says, since they couldn't stop it, they shut down the trains. Yes, to certain stuff. You couldn't even get on the train. Facts. They had the barricades where you couldn't even. It was like any other parade march. Certain subway stations they shut down. So when I'm gonna play a little bit more. Anyway, those copter. Yeah, facts. Brother Blacksmith said he was there. It was shameful. Now, one more clip, and then we're gonna bring our brother Blacksmith in here so he can give his 2 cents on it. Hold on, family.
Again, you, for the most part, remain a mystery. But can you tell us, since the last Million Youth March, what have you done here in New York as a leader? Not general themes, specifics.
I am so happy to answer that question because my critics have called me an outsider. The politicians of Harlem, when every day they sanction busloads of whites who are outsiders to come in and gobble up Harlem like little white Pac-Men, and have sold out to the white business interests and run the vendors from 125th Street. I must say to you that we have been working throughout the entire year with the black men's movement against crack, going door to door and street by street and block by block in the black community. That's not what I just started doing, my dear brother. That is what I've been doing all of my adult life and some of my young life as a teen, in addition to our anti-drug program. We're working to set up the free food program, only giving out food now and having free food programs here and there, but intending to lay the base from this mass mobilization, as Brother Kwame Ture taught us before he went on to the ancestors, now mass organization, free food program, feed the multitudes over the past year. We have done street patrols called crime units.
Been feeding the poor over the past year here in New York City.
My dear brother, sir, we have been doing that.
That brings up another...
And working with political prisoners that most talk about or read about. We have direct contact with them, speaking to them by telephone and in person as we go in and out visiting them and fighting for those who are on death row unjustly. Brother Gary Graham, Brother Mumia Abu Jamal, and many others of the political prisoners who are locked down. I'm not such a mystery. Black people in the black community have known me for a long time, and in the hip-hop community. But in a sense, the white man and you, to some degree, I don't believe you're really with them to that degree, are like Columbus. You're just discovering me just a few days ago.
Well, that...
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy going try to check him on his legacy of work. Of real community work. Not no YouTube running of the mouther, but real community work. He tried to come in and check his legacy. But like I said before you guys got in, shout out Brother Blacksmith is now want to check in, and we got my brother Ashe SJ, a partner in crime in here. But he tried to really come for him on behalf of, you know, the hats here in New York City. Because it was the hats who went after him. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that, you know. Brother Blacksmith, how you doing? What's good with you?
What's up, sis? Shout out, shout out, shout out. What's up, brother Ashe? How are you? Peace, peace. Sister Keisha, always great to be with you again. Thank you for having me once again. And peace out to Tad. I know I heard it from the beginning of the show what he's going through. So peace out to him and the family. As far as our brother, the beloved Dr. Khalid Muhammad, who I never spoke to him one-on-one, but man, the thing, oh man, it felt like a stab in the heart when he passed away. But as far as what he was to the bit, and what he gave up to, he gave his life for his people. We know that. It was shameful that day. I was on 125th Street that day in the morning time. I was living in Harlem at the time. And I went to 125th Street just to see what the climate was going to be when I got out there. And every cop I passed that was white was giving me that, like, nigga, we hope we catch you over there later so we could take care of y'all because we going in. I just went back to the crib after that. I walked around there. It was a lot of people. I was like, I'm not going to get to the front, and I'm not trying to hear it on the speaker. I broke out because all those white cops was looking like murder was on their mind, straight up.
Facts. I used to live, facts, because I lived in Harlem at that time. I used to live on 141st and Edgecombe.
Oh, man, you was down the block.
Right there. For everybody who knows, 141st and Edgecombe is legendary. If you ever seen the movie Claudine, I lived right across the street. She lived 139 Edgecombe. I lived 141st. But anyway, so they had all of that cut off. You couldn't even get in out of the 145th where the fish store used to be at right there. You couldn't even get out.
Wow.
It was crazy. And like you said, they did have that angst about them. I remember specifically because coming to my building where I lived at on 141st, coming down Convent, you coming down that hill, right? You had all of these NYPD cops lined all the way up there, and you had kids who were out there playing right at the top of the hill where the church is at. They up there playing, and the cops took one of the kids and shoved him into the pile of garbage just for no reason. And then I seen this lady, she's going off on the police. after seeing, you know, what he did to the kid or what have you. So
Right.
yeah, like you said, they was on some serious stuff
Yeah.
that day. And it got to the point where Dr. Khaled at one point said, don't move. Don't none of y'all move. Nobody move. If they come and attack you, you
I
attack
remember that.
them.
Yeah.
Whatever you got on you, you know how to do it. Nobody move. Because literally, I'm telling you, the helicopters came down over our
Yeah.
heads so low. It
Right.
was crazy that day. Crazy. You had
Yeah.
babies screaming. It was off the chain. But anyway, brother Ashe SJ is on the check-in. What's good with you?
Yeah. What's the word, family? First of all, any video you pull up of Dr. Khaled, you know, it's going to be something that is memorable. It's something that is a teaching point. You know, it's a lesson for all of us. Like, I mean, not too many people or so quote unquote leaders nowadays, you know, has that poise and has that ability to stand on their square the way Dr. Khaled did. So watching that, it don't matter how many times I watch that. Every time I watch it, I feel like it's the first time and I'm learning something new on how to conduct yourself, you know. And we could talk about the content, but like the character of, you know, how he was handling himself was what was really striking to me, you know, because even though he knew that this black man was an enemy, he was the op, you know what I'm saying? He still conducted himself in a way where it's like he gave him a chance, you know, he gave him a chance to be like, look, pull yourself up, straighten up, you know what I'm saying? We know these white people got you in the bat and they paycheck, you know, but you got the opportunity right now to stand up, you know, come tomorrow. Everybody has that ability inside of them, you know, and it's just a matter of, are you going to listen to those ancestors and the ones that came before you and do right? Or are you going to continue to ignore the call? You know, because some people don't ever get the call. Some people, they hear the calling, and they just ignore the call, you know, and Dr. Khaled was trying to reach that brother. Unfortunately, he couldn't reach him. You know, some people you can't reach. We know that as well, but everybody has that lineage in them. If you are African, you have that lineage of righteousness and, you know, revolutionary spirit to be a freedom fighter. So we just got to pay attention to it. But the fact that he handled and conducted himself, like he held his own, you know what I'm saying? And made the there was points in the interview where the dude couldn't even respond. He didn't even know what to say back to Dr. Khaled. And Khaled wasn't even being nasty with it. You know, he was still saying, you embarrassing me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you embarrassing all of us. Like, come on. But at the same time, he was killing them with a smile. You know, I remember it was a lesson. I had to learn that lesson in the street one time. Like, one of my OGs, one time I had to, it was like 10 dudes had pulled up to the block. I'm like, yo, hold up. They think it's sweet. Got the OG. The OG, he had my back. You know what I'm saying? He had it. So now I'm a young buck. I'm like, oh, we good now. Let me go. So now I run outside. I'm like, yo, where they at? I'm yelling, and OG had to pull me to the side. Like, yo, you know how many people I done got at with a smile on my face? You know what I'm saying? So it's not all about the being rowdy. You ain't got to be rowdy all the time to get your point across. You got to be strategic, you know. And the brother Khalid Muhammad, he was case in point, prime example of being strategic, you know, getting what you want out of the scenario. Because at the end of the day, we could all argue and yell and debate and do all of that. But at the end of the day, what is it that you want out of that conversation? Because if you arguing with somebody and you talking to a goddamn brick wall, you're not getting no benefit out of the conversation. You're just wasting your breath, wasting your energy. So Khalid said, I see that he's the op. So let me try to play this in a position where it's not only me putting myself in a better light as the respectful person, but also it's comedic because I'm at the same time, I'm embarrassing them because I'm showing the people that this is comedy. Like, you're not even on the level of character when it comes to being a strong black African. You know what I'm saying? So I love that. Before we continue with that, I want to say, you know, we can't talk about Khalid Muhammad and the new Black Panthers until we talk about the original Black Panthers, because today is Huey P. Newton's birthday. You know what I'm saying? So,
thank you, brother. I didn't know that. Thank you.
Huey P. Newton from the original Black Panther Party for self-defense. Today's his birthday, February 17th. You know, please make sure. Oh, she got a clip. Okay, what's the clip? Let's watch it.
In the name of peace, we realize that we're shedding blood now. We're being killed either by the vicious service revolver of the occupying army, which is the police, who's directed by the avaricious businessman, the lying politician, or we're being killed through the lack of medical care, the lack of funds because of unemployment. We're being killed because of lack of nutrition. So violence can take many forms. I call that violence when our kids are born and they're born with organic brain damages because of the malnutrition of the mother, you see. For economic reasons, the country is much too rich for that kind of thing. One man never makes a revolution. One weapon never defeats a revolution. The people always win wars, and people write world history, make world history, that is, and they transform the planet Earth.
Yeah, that's the ancestor right there, Huey. You know, we definitely got to take to him. And I want to say, you know, one of the first books I ever read when I came into this knowledge of self thing was Revolutionary Suicide. You know, if you don't have this book, please do yourself a favor and go copy it. Because, you know, we talk to the choir a lot and we assume that everybody knows everything. But sometimes everybody don't know everything, you know. So if you never saw this, make sure you pick it up. It's basically like an autobiography. He had some help writing it, but he also played a part. But it tells a lot about his whole life story. It's a very powerful book. And another great read from him is a lot of his memoirs that he wrote himself, articles. That book is called The Huey P. Newton Reader. You could check that book out, The Huey P. Newton Reader. But also, right after the show, if y'all bored, you tired of watching Netflix and all of that, watching your what's the popular show the kids watch? I don't even know what the kids is watching nowadays. You tired of watching that? You could go right and watch the Spike Lee movie. Because Spike Lee made a movie back in the days called, what's it called? I think it's called The Huey P. Newton Story. That's what it's called, The Huey P. Newton Story. Spike Lee directed the movie featuring that light-skinned actor is playing Huey. I think his name is Roger something. He was in American Gangster. He played in a lot of movies.
You talking about
Roger something.
Bojo? Yeah. I forget his name. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he played Huey P. Newton. And if I'm not mistaken, you could probably pull that up on YouTube and watch it for free because, you know, they play certain parts of it, like the whole movie, but they'll break it down in clips. So you can watch the whole movie for free on YouTube if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, check that out. Check out the books. Huey P. Newton is definitely an ancestor that, you know, we have to take our hats off to, man. So many people was inspired by Huey P. Newton, you know, and if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have a Khalid and we wouldn't have so many other people that did things for us. You know, so that's a very powerful ancestor. How y'all feel about it?
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure,
and
man.
also go to when you get a chance, check out the National Archives. There's a lot of information there about Huey P. Newton, who was born in, I think it was Monroe, Louisiana. So when you get a chance, as Brother Ashe, as Jay said, because a lot of you are new to this, believe it or not. Like I said, we got viewers and listeners from all over the globe. So at your own leisure, you can do that. So we started with Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, moved
Keisha,
into Huey P. Go ahead, brother.
Can I ask you a real quick question? Being that, you know, we have a commonality here, could you bring up real quick that clip of Giuliani and Dominic Carter?
Yeah, I'll try to get that real quick.
Yeah, when you get to it. Okay, we can go to the. I just wanted to say it before I forgot.
Will do. And Sister Farnessa, you asked the question, is the interviewer still on the air in New York City? Absolutely not. Because right after that, like I said, he had a domestic violence case. So he was done after that. Dominic Carter was done. I ain't even seen him walking the streets of Harlem no more after that. So, you know, it is what it is. Shout out to Dr. Filet. Always good to have you on the check-in. So, you know, we honor Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad again because in February of 2001, he transitioned. It is the birthday of Huey P. Newton, I believe, born in 42. But before the two of them, you have Brother Malcolm.
Victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You can keep Johnson in Washington, D.C., or you can send him back to his Texas cotton patch. The one who sent Kennedy to Washington. You're the one who put the present Democratic administration in Washington, D.C. The whites were evenly divided. It was the fact that you threw 80% of your votes behind the Democrats that put the Democrats in the White House. When you see this, you can see that the Negro vote is the key factor. And despite the fact that you are in a position to be the determining factor, what do you get out of it? The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. They've been down there 4 years. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and got it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last, because you're a chump. The party that you passed controls 2/3 of the House of Representatives and the Senate, and still they can't keep their promise to you. Anytime you throw your weight behind a political party that controls 2/3 of the government, and that party can't keep the promise that it made to you during election time, and you are dumb enough to walk around continuing to identify yourself with that party, you're not only a chump, but you're a traitor to your race.
Yep.
That's right.
Facts.
1,000. We don't even need to say nothing about that.
What
That
else
was
is there to say? What else is there to say? Like I always say, and we always say here, the blueprint has already been laid for us. We done went through 3 different time periods of revolutionary might, of revolutionary thought, of political thought. So we went through 3 different personalities, born in 3 different parts of the world, different approaches, if you will, but one common goal: liberation of Black people.
Yes,
Period.
ma'am.
And not just, I want our people to understand, and I say this often, when you study history, even the great ones, you have to study the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because if you only study what is favorable to you, you're missing part of the story. And when
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
missing part of the story, you lose part of the roadmap on how you should proceed. So you got to look at it in its totality. But I had to bring up Brother Malcolm because it is on February 21st when he transitioned,
Right.
and I wanted to do that. But to move even further, let's go to a different time period. You done seen Dr. Khaled. You done seen Huey P. You done seen Brother Malcolm. Now let's go back to where they got it from. Hold on.
Friends, brothers, and sisters in the struggle for human dignity and freedom, I am here to represent the struggle that has gone on for 300 or more years. A struggle to be recognized as citizens in a country in which we were born. I have had about 40 or 50 years of struggle, ever since a little boy on the streets of Norfolk called me a nigger. I struck him back, and then I had to learn that hitting back with my fist one individual was not enough. It takes organization. It takes dedication. It takes the willingness to stand by and do what has to be done when it has to be done. A nice gathering like today is not enough. You have to go back and reach out to your neighbors who don't speak to you. And you have to reach out to your friends who think they are making it good and get them to understand that they, as well as you and I, cannot be free imperialism until we can get people to recognize that they themselves have to make the struggle and have to make the fight for freedom every day in the year, every year, until they win it.
Now, Sister Ella Baker was before them. You can't talk about SNCC without talking about Ella Baker. You can't talk about Kwame Ture without talking about Ella Baker. So again, just giving our viewers a blueprint or a roadmap leading backward. And I can go back even further than that, but I'm not. We ain't got that kind of time.
Yeah, we can go back.
You can go back. You can go back to Hubert Harrison. Everybody talks about Garvey, but it was Hubert Harrison who introduced Garvey to Harlem. Hubert Harrison was a literary genius. He was a key figure in organizing for the Socialist Party here in New York. He was so radical. His thought, you would have white business owners, white business elite who would sit and want to listen to Hubert Harrison, right? But here, once Garvey got in front of Hubert Harrison's literary club and spoke to his audience, Garvey realized his magnetism with the black people of Harlem. And so Garvey began to form the UNIA to coerce, if you will, black people who were following the literary society and the socialist movement under Hubert Harrison. And so there was a little bit of tension there, if you will, until they came on under one accord dealing with the NAACP. But that's a whole nother story. I could go on about Hubert Harrison all day. But your thoughts, Brother Blacksmith, Brother Ashe, on the legacy of, our greats telling us what to do, showing us what to do, and now looking at our brothers and sisters, the furthest they're going in social media and a protest that Urugu set up for them.
Yeah. Well, like you said, when I tackle these kind of topics, Sister Keisha, Brother Ashe, I like to say it like this. If we're going to tackle it from the top, we got to say 85% of the people are always going to be the masses. Those are the workers. And if the society was set up for us in that dynamic, then the 85 would be at least middle class. The 10% would be, the rich people, and of course the 5% would be the wealthy. But remember, white supremacy, that in anything that opposes it, they turn it into a polarity thing, and then here you are with us on the bottom and them on the top. Their system, their system. Period. I don't got to name a subsystem inside of a whole system. Their system. It's what they say. So whenever you have a group, and maybe not now necessarily, but throughout our history, I read a book once named The Art of Leadership by Oba Tashaka, and it said, the way you know you have an organization is if you have opposition. So we're always going to be the opposition, and we're always going to have those people come up. And actually, and in fact, we are those people now. The recognition by a million, a billion, or 10,000 people doesn't negate what we're doing right here. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to be Jay-Z. We don't have to be Beyonce. We are us doing what we're supposed to do in following in all of the people so far that we've dropped it on legacy. We're following that legacy. I give up my soapbox.
That's what's up, Brother Ashe.
Yeah, man. It's a struggle, man. It's unfortunate, like since the beginning of this thing, when we were born here, the Hells of North America, we always equate this to be the black struggle. You know what I'm saying? Since day one, that's what we coined the phrase, the Black struggle, right? And it's like, we still struggling, man. We still struggling. I don't know what it's going to take for us to learn, but, you know, I know it's a lot of divisive tactics and things of that nature. So here in the program, we study the L's that we take, the losses, but we also study the wins. You know, right now, this is Black History Month. So many powerful things have happened in the month of February in Black History Month. So Black History Month is a month where you're supposed to reflect on, you know, history throughout the whole year, throughout all of the years. But specifically in the month of February, being Black History Month, you know, a lot of very big things happen as well, like we just spoke about. You know, we just talked about Huey P. Newton, you know, the death of the ancestor Khalid Muhammad, so on and so forth. I also know that tomorrow, I believe February 18th, is the Independence Day for Gambia in the motherland. It's Gambia Independence Day. So shout out to all our people from Gambia. You know, we have people, gratefully, we have people that check in and watch the show from the motherland. So shout out to y'all. You know, and I believe Dr. Dre's birthday is this month. Toni Morrison's birthday, you know, some people love her, hate her, whatever, but
Bob Marley,
a writer in history. Bob Marley, Toni Morrison, like so many different, it's so many powerful dates. Matter of fact, also next week we're gonna have to talk about this. Hopefully Tyler be back with us. We'll see. But next week is Amos Wilson's birthday, the 23rd. You know, so it's so many different things. So like that's why the whole narrative of Black Future Month to me is just, it's like crazy. I get the narrative behind it, but like Black history is Black future, you know, like we make Black history every day. You know what I'm saying? We making Black history right now. We're just gonna continue doing that. Like there's no way you could stop us. You could kill us or whatever. We come right back. Like babies. You feel me? We don't die, we multiply. But I just feel like the things that we're doing, we just got to make sure that we studying, because a lot of times, you know, in comparison to what's going on now with our struggle and what people are trying to do, like he just said, the protests, you know, things of that nature that they have set up, it's like, unfortunately, a lot of us are not studying history. You know, some of us, you know, we go to these universities or these colleges and their educational system, and we get this book knowledge, and we don't have the wisdom and we don't have the street knowledge to apply with the book knowledge. So that's why I really respect Huey P. Newton and, you know, so on and so forth, so many other real revolutionaries that was doing it, because in that time, in that era, it was like brothers and sisters was going to school with the concept in their head that I'm going to go to school so that I can fight for my people. I'm going to go to school and get this education so that I can learn the strategies and the techniques to get my people free. That was the era. That was the time. You know what I'm saying? And now it seems like people are going to school and they're getting educated in these universities with these watered down, Afrocentric, you know, curriculums that supposedly they have. You come out with a bachelor's in Africana studies. It's not like how it was back in the days when you had the real professors that cared about Black people teaching Africana studies. Now you got people teaching about Africana studies, and then they go on and they halfway. You know, you get their you ask them for their sources, and the sources that they giving you to educate you on Africana studies is sources that's watered down and sources that got all of these different kind of agendas that are not just putting Black people first. You know what I'm saying? It's not true unapologetic sources that they're coming from. It's sources that fits the narrative so that these professors can still keep their paycheck and still keep their job, but also give you a little watered down halfway speech and curriculum about Black people. You know what I'm saying? And then we know time and time again, and even in elementary school, as we grew up, they would teach us about Martin and not Malcolm. You know, they don't teach us like all of the things that we need. So this is why it's very important for us to know who we following if you a follower, you know, and learn who you are. Study all different kind of elements to it. You know what I'm saying? We can't just study one thing, because the people now that I'm seeing, unfortunately, that's fighting in a struggle, it's like some of them are educated, you know, but they ain't that bright. They ain't that smart. They not street smart. And it seemed like back in the days of revolutionary suicide, these people, when they was in school, you would see them also on the front line in the street. And I ain't talking about in the street or no protest when it's safe, when the city gave you the permit to protest and all of that. And I ain't talking about when it's safe and all of that. I'm talking about these people, they was in the trenches.
Holding it down.
Huey P. Newton, matter of fact, unfortunately, and it's a lot of controversy with this story, but we don't know what the whole truth is. I'm sure somebody out there knows. But they said that when he got bodied, he got murdered in a crack house that he used to do work in. He used to actually do work in that neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Can I address that real quick?
What he was doing there, we are not 100% sure. You know what I'm saying? But all I know is he put in work in the trenches. And that's another sad part of the story. I'm going to pass the mic to you, Blacksmith, because I also know that Huey P. Newton, they say he was murdered by one of us, a member from the Black Gorilla family. What is the Black Gorilla family?
Fact.
We also talk about the Black Gorilla family, right? That's another strong unit that we had. Started by who? None other than our favorite, George Jackson, the Soledad brother. You know what I'm saying? But why is it that we come to these points of contention where we end up getting into something and then dying by the hands of our own people? Like I said earlier, it's a lot of divisive tactics that we got to get a hold of, you know? And a lot of our people don't even cut from that cloth. They don't understand street smarts at all. So they don't know the first thing about strategies of war. You know what I'm saying? These are some of these kids now that's Black Lives Matter protesters or whatever you want to call this whole era. They just went to school and learned Africana studies from people that, like I said, these professors that don't really give a damn. They don't got no skin in the game. You know what I'm saying? These Africana study professors don't even be in the community. They live in Long Island or New Jersey. They come from somewhere else and they come to the city just to teach for the day. And then they say, let me pack up and get out of here real quick. They don't be in the hood like Professor Jeffries and Smalls and, you know, so on and so forth. The great scholars that we had that was teaching in the educational system. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things that we got to think about. So I'm going to pass the mic. Go ahead and say what you want to say, bro.
As far as I'm going to be specific to when you were talking about Dr. Newton. I call him Dr. Newton. Now, I've spent time on the West Coast, so I've met people who knew him, you know, because like you said, these guys were on the street. They weren't, you know, and I mean, they were also in the universities and all that, speaking of, you know, teaching about Mao and the revolution and how that went down. But what I'm saying is as far as Huey did, 13 years in jail, something like that? Less than 20, more than 10. He did, let's say 15, just to keep it even. Okay, he did 15 years in prison. Like with a lot of people did with Nelson Mandela. When you in prison, and they got a lot of research labs and all kind of stuff out on the West Coast in the mountains that nobody know about. They could have easily, you know, chipped him like a Manchurian candidate and had him. He was selling drugs in those neighborhoods and so on and so forth. I believe if he wasn't programmed to do it, he was chipped to do it, because there's no way you're going to go from trying to save your people to basically killing them. You know what I'm saying? The same thing with Mandela. I just want to make the correlation. A lot of people, when he died, they say, oh, he sold out because he became the president. He married that practically white woman, blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that, all that. What I'm saying in relation to that is you have to understand that when Mandela was who he was before any of us were born, people was dying as a result of him telling, yo, we're going to go over there and do this. So whatever you want to say about him. So he did double the time that Huey did in a country in South Africa where whites run in a black place, a place where all black people come from. So what I'm saying is I believe in certain cases that they make people do or clone them, whatever. You know what I'm saying? If you had left them intact, I don't believe either one of them would have died the way we know them to have died, without knowing what they did when they were actually doing it.
But you know what, bro? To add on to what you're saying, bro, because like, yeah, that's one way to look at it. But even if you look at it on a minuscule level, bro, even if Huey P. Newton, like they say, and like they put in a movie, was a fiend, like he did turn out to be an addict. who didn't become an addict in those days. You know what I'm saying? Because that was strategically put in the black community to break up the goddamn revolutionary,
Yes, sir.
The revolution that was happening. The CIA, FBI, or the government literally put crack in the goddamn community as a part of COINTELPRO to break up these goddamn, all of these factions, the Black Guerrilla Family, the Black Panther Party, so on and so forth. They did that intentionally. So even if Huey was just wilding out in his later life because he became an addict, they bring that down on him. How many of our people we know got crack babies that had their parents was goddamn addicts? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we not above that. We not above none of that. Like I'm from the hood. Like we know how it is, you know, like crackhead and all that. But where did that come from? We didn't start that. That's well documented that the government put the crack in the community. So even if you want to say he was chipped or microchip or whatever, I'ma just say they gave him the crack was the goddamn chip or whatever he was on. They put that chip inside of his ass, but it still came from the enemy.
Yeah, of course. And that's why when me, you and Keisha were talking a little earlier, that's why I said instead of attacking the subsystem of the system, just the system as a whole, because that's the way it's supposed to run. Back to you, Keisha.
Facts. So again, you know, and then too, you have to look at everything that they put him through. Everything that they put him through. And you know, the Panthers were infiltrated out the gate. They were infiltrated out the gate. So it was a lot of things going on. So I hope all of you who are viewing study the history of the Panthers, but study it in depth because there is a lot of information and misinformation, and you have to decipher what is true and what isn't. So again, study on your own time. We're gonna move right along.
Remember, a lot of our kids don't know who the Panthers are. You say Black Panther, they say Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So opportunity right now to get yourself a copy, and it's an easy read too. It's not hard. You could buy this as a gift for a teenager, a young kid, junior high, elementary school, all of that. You know, I see it, and I'm grateful. I see a lot of people buy Asada and they give it to their babies. Well, this is the male version right here. You could give this as that same level of reading, you know, and it's like an autobiography. Give this to the kids, buy it for yourself, family. Like Revolutionary Suicide is definitely something that, you know, we should be reading and honoring, because that brother and Bobby Seale as well, they put in so much work for our people, man. Like, seriously.
Yes, sir.
Facts. So moving right along, family, we running down on time. Recently in the news again, Jim Jones with shenanigans. I don't know if y'all saw it. He upset that he didn't get speedy service in the Gucci store. and I think he said he was buying some stuff that totaled like $29,000. Why do our people lust so much for brand names, even though these brand names make it perfectly clear that what they are producing isn't for you?
I'll let Ashay tackle that first.
It just boggles my mind. I'm serious. I'm trying to figure it out.
I'm gonna keep it 100, right? Because boom, first of all, I don't know nothing about this story. I'm hearing it firsthand from y'all. I don't follow like certain things like that no more. You know, certain things I pick up and I hear from the internet, like social media, things of that nature, and that's how I learn about it. But Jim Jones, I don't follow. But to touch on that subject though is like, the thing about it is, right, with Black people, I mean, we all like nice stuff, you know, we kings and queens, you know what I'm saying? So we come from abundance, you know? So we used to having gold on our neck and gold on our chain, on our wrist and all of that, being kings and queens, or even further, being gods and goddesses. We used to that, you know what I'm saying? But we was coming from a place of abundance, like gold, you could find that in a goddamn soil. You know what I'm saying? We just picked it up, saw that it's shiny, and wanted to wear it because it's beautiful. You know, not to be materialistic or nothing like that. But, you know, we that's how we honor ourselves and honor the earth and things of that nature, as being honorable and saying that we are luxury, you know. So I feel like a lot of us now, we just so used to, since we came from that level of abundance, and that's in our DNA genetically, you know what I'm saying? But most of us on this life that we live in have never experienced that. So we so deprived and depleted of what is naturally on our genetics as far as abundance, that now we overdo it. It's not balanced. So now we still in the hood and living in a projects, ain't got no car, riding a train, but we'll have on $3,000 sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Our whole outfit costs $10,000. We going to the Gucci store or whatever the case is, but we still ain't got our priorities set. We still, the bill collectors is still calling us, and we still fresh in Yeezys and $3,000 sneakers. You know what I'm saying? But that's because, like I said, I feel like we something inside of us know like what we are, you know, a people of abundance and all of that. But we got to think logically now, family. We got to be smart and strategic about it. We can't continue doing this, you know, because what we are essentially doing is funding our own goddamn annihilation. You know what I'm saying? We funding the army of the other team. We funding the army of our enemies. We giving our oppressors money to oppress us. That's exactly what we're doing. And, you know, so many people throughout history, like even Sister Soldier, when she went on a radio show, she talked about the importance of keeping that black dollar with black businesses and not spending and boycotting these big corporations and things of that nature. Like, ain't nothing changed from that, family. Even if we talk about in relation to the Super Bowl that just passed.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about that.
I feel like this Super Bowl that just passed was the NFL's red carpet back into the black community. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I get it. They got Jay-Z, he's there, or say supposedly he's a part of it or whatever the case is. Yeah, that's true. But that don't change the fact that more than half of these goddamn NFL football team owners are racist as hell. We talking about straight up KKK racists. Not even though just don't like black people. They want to like, you know what I'm saying? Like straight like that. Like that's how these NFL owners are. So just because they hired Jay-Z and all that don't mean that changed the fact that a lot of the covers got to be pulled from these goddamn people in this organization. But how many black people you saw at that show? First of all, the whole halftime show, they had about 5 different big black hip hop and R&B artists. They just serenaded it back into the black community. You know what I'm saying? Then you look in the crowd, you have all the celebrities, Beyonce, Kanye West, all of this black celebrities was at the goddamn NFL game. So it's official now. So the NFL is like, yes, 22-23 NFL season, we got our money back. We back in our bag because they already know the ratings are going to go up through the roof because now black people are watching. Because remember, when that boycott started, we wasn't watching the NFL. They actually lost ratings. You know what I'm saying? Like they literally lost ratings because of the black people. So that shows you the power that we have. When people tell you that black people are not powerless, I just sit back and laugh at them, man. Granted, yeah, we don't know how to apply our power properly, and we need to learn that. But we got all the power in the world. We could change everything overnight if we really put our mind to it. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to this story, what you're talking about, I'm gonna pass the mic. Listen, man. First of all, nobody told him to go back into Gucci. Nobody officially said black people wearing Gucci again. We was boycotting Gucci. We was doing that for a very long time. Everything was good. Now, slowly but surely, here come little rappers here and there and actors here and there that are black that want to go shop in Gucci. Now it's getting watered down. It's like, oh, we forgot that they made the goddamn black face with the menstrual show lips on the shirts and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So nobody told them to even go back in there. But the fact that this is what happens time and time again too. Like everything is okay as black people until they do something to you. Now you want to rally up the whole goddamn black community. Now you want everybody to be upset. Oh, because I can't spend my 30 G's in there now. It's a whole black thing. Nah, you should have known that from the jump. This ain't the first time Gucci said they was doing that. You know what I'm saying? But they been like that, you know? So as far as I'm concerned, it's so many goddamn black fashion. This is New York Fashion Week just passed. You know what I'm saying? It just passed last week, New York Fashion Week, and you a New York rapper. You know how many black or even Spanish if you want to do that, because I think he has Spanish. You know how many black stylists and fashion designers are out, and he could have went and spent $30,000 and changed their whole goddamn life. Their whole company would have been set. But he want to splurge and be in a Gucci store. But guess what? Time and time again, they ain't gonna learn. They gonna go right back in there again and spend it again, because all Gucci gonna do is do a commercial and put a rapper on a goddamn commercial and use the song, and then next year Gucci sales gonna be through the roof again. So it's just unfortunate, man. But we just gotta learn, like, look, we come from abundance, we luxury, we know all of that, but let's be smart about it, family. Let's be abundant and utilize and apply that energy of abundance to something that's gonna come back tenfold to all people. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pass the mic on that.
Yeah.
It's funny, we just talking about, not to cut your wisdom.
No.
We talking about Huey P and the crack era or whatever. But then I get a message from the real Rick Ross. So anyway, he got something going on with boxing. But anyway, I'll look at that later. It's just funny how things work. I didn't mean to stop you. Go ahead, Brother Blacksmith.
No, real quick, Keisha, I don't got to take a long time on Jimmy. You know, the way I see those high fashion brands, it was like Timberland in the 90s when they said that they don't want gangster rappers and thug niggas, you know, wearing their boots in the hood and all that, whatever. This has been going on since black people been able to afford anything that white folk don't think we supposed to have. So it ain't nothing new, and it ain't negative advertisement for Gucci, because there are white people who go to Gucci and spend that like weekly, and like they don't want to see no niggas just because they got money next to them. You know, it's like
first of all, and then too, it goes back to my commentary about Eric Adams, how he has a sit down with Mano and some other people,
right,
about drill music, but you have no commentary about Gucci and the criminality behind that crime family. Because that's what they are, a crime family. They done killed each other, stole from each other. I mean, that's a real crime family right there.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no commentary. Again, I just had to throw that in there.
That's true. I'm gonna let Blacksmith, but when you go to the home of Gucci, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us, we don't even know that Gucci is not even American, or it's Italian or something.
Yeah, I knew that. Uh-huh.
We don't even realize that. We just think, oh, it's luxury. We got money. We go to the Gucci store. But the people this is a fashion house. Most of us don't even know what a goddamn fashion house is. We just know about a brand, and that's it. The brand is expensive. Right. If you wear it, people gonna think that you doing good in life. So because you wearing a brand that costs this much money, but we don't understand that this is a fashion house. The house of Gucci was started by a family, like Keisha said. You want to talk about power when it comes to racial dynamics? That's an actual blood family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That passes down generation after generation. You go to Italy and France or wherever these goddamn countries is from, these people are racist. Like, they literally, you go to, I was watching, there's a social media page I follow. It's like Black Passport Stamps or something. And some sister put up a video where she went to Barcelona. And she said that this is one of the worst places she ever traveled. Dark skinned sister. So she said that she got off the plane and they were just staring at her, looking at her, grilling. She would sit down in certain parts of the country, and when she go sit down and have something to eat, the people sitting next to her would get up and move. You know what I'm saying? Don't like people. And y'all want to go in Italy, in Gucci, which is an Italian store, and not even realize that the owners don't like black people.
Right. Well, you know, when you understand the history of how the Moors went into Spain and practically all of Southern Europe, especially, then you already know why they don't like, especially dark people. I've worked for, you know, those people, and they kind of they're a certain kind of special in the northern part of the country, not so much in the south, because most of them are darker. They already know they got black blood in them. They ain't going, you know, they're not going to be haters outright, at least for the most part. I've been to Southern Spain. I know what I'm telling you.
For real. In the southern part, they call them the N-word and everything. over there. My brother-in-law lives in Italy.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, just had to throw that out there, the double standard. But we're
Right.
gonna move right along because time is of the essence.
Yes, ma'am.
I saw um Brother Magnate Peace, he said that would have been the perfect opportunity. They would never do that, Brother Peace. They would never do that. You got Sheila Jackson Lee. Now you got Sheila Jackson Lee and what's his name? Jim Clyburn out of South Carolina. Now want to resurrect this study of reparations again. Why? Because the black vote is gone. And they thought that they wouldn't get much pushback when they started talking about allowing non-citizens to vote. In fact, there are three black people who have formed a class action lawsuit here in New York. As a matter of fact, I'll be calling the law firm again this morning. They sent me an email. I have to call them back to give testimony about how this is detrimental to black people
Yeah.
in the black vote. So I'll let y'all know the particulars on that after I speak to the law firm tomorrow. But we're gonna move right along. Now, Brother Blacksmith, you know, here on Thorough Black Talk, we've been telling people for quite some time, over a year, we've been telling people about these shortages, about the inflation, that they should stock up little by little, and
Mhm.
now is at a crisis point.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
the issue now is not just the inflation, but when other supplies will come into the country, because the vessels are backed up 6 months and beyond. They are literally sitting on the water.
Yeah.
I know I do this for a living. They
Yeah.
sitting on the water. But go ahead, Brother Blacksmith.
Where you want me to attack this from, Miss
Now,
Keisha?
China's role in manufacturing
Okay,
right
okay,
now.
that's a little more specific. Let me.
China's role in manufacturing,
Mhm.
and what kind of grip do they have on the world, in particular the U.S. right now?
Okay, give me about 3 minutes. I'm gonna try to go through it real quick because this is what I got from my little bit of research that I did. Now, we know for the most part that most things, imported, exported, for the most part, is shipped. When I say shipped, I don't mean on a plane to a ship to a
They come in
bus.
on vessels.
Yeah, you're right. They come in on seagoing vessels over long periods of, and I know what I'm saying because at one time I was a merchant seaman. That's why I was in and out of New York for a long time. I stopped
Yeah, it
doing
takes a minimum of 120 days. But go ahead.
exactly, exactly. So this really started in earnest with the trade war that Trump started when he first got into office with China, because the tariffs, he put tariffs on them because they basically was, everybody was given, everybody, well, let me not say everybody, but a lot of people who know what time it is know that the CCP basically is backing what we call in the United States the deep state. So I'm talking about all the people who are against Trump. I'm not going to get overly political, and it culminated when they stopped that ship in the Suez Canal last year, and the name of it is Evergreen. Now, if people who know about political stuff, I'm talking about the under parts of it. I'm not talking about the out in the open parts. Know that Evergreen is code word for Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, the same one that lost the election last time and was crying, is still crying about it. So basically, the reason why they did that is because that's where they transport in all their ways of getting money that Trump shut down after he became the president. So they transported kids, weapons, and those ships were full of weapons that were supposed to go to different places in the event this pandemic didn't work out, which it ain't working out. So that's why they stuck it there. While it was there stuck, they were searching it and finding all of the weapons. They found children in there wrapped in bubble wrap and all kind of craziness. Okay, so and then after that, last year in August as well, right after the ship, the ship got stuck in the Suez Canal. There's a port in Zhoushan, China. It's the third largest port in the world. World. I didn't say China. I said world. It got shut down because of one positive COVID case. So stuff was already being, you know, coming late because now you got a major port shut down. That's probably like 10% of all their exports out of that place in that one port. So then that happened. Yeah, there you go. So then that happened. And now on the back end of that is when the ships finally get to the United States off the coast of New York and Long Island, excuse me, Los Angeles for the most part. Now you got those ships backlogged out at sea. Now, we in the United States don't have to worry about that because the United States can feed itself. They just make all these deals with all these farmers and hunters across the seas to keep businesses going and so forth and so on. So now with the last part of that is the truck convoys up in Canada, because we thinking of it and being in the capital, and we're not thinking of that they also on the borders blocking trucks from coming in and out. And if stuff come to the United States first and then going to Canada, they got to get trucked in because they got their coast is the Atlantic and Pacific too. So the only way you're going to get anything into the country if it comes to the United States is by truck. And that's, you know, that's going to come to a stand any minute now, you know, because supposedly Trudeau is sending in the military. The military is not going to go in, and a lot of the police is retiring. They got to get cops from all over the country to come to Ottawa to try to shut it down. I don't see how they're going to do it without attacking people. And then it's going to be a war. And thank God that most of these guys are truckers, so you know they're big and they're not going to be afraid. They're Teamsters, like in the United States. You know, you think of a trucker or a Teamster, you think of a big rough guy that, like, you know, ain't taking no crap. We're talking about freedom here. We're not talking about, you know, to reduce our taxes or anything like that. So basically, that's causing all the food in most countries. Well, let's talk about food, because I don't want to talk about products because you don't need that to live. We need to talk about the essentials right now. Going back to you saying that, you know, people should be stocked up. People should be stocked up. You should have at least enough for 2 to 3 weeks of food, the same amount of water minimum. These are minimums. And just be ready for anything. Have your flashlights, your batteries, and anything you could think of if you need to, you know, hunker down for a few weeks without, you know, being able to go out because it's mad chaos out there. I'm done.
I feel you. Also too, you got to look at not just what's happening in Canada with the truckers, but also here in the U.S. There was a shortage of truckers. In fact, now that once the vessels are coming in into the ports, because of the backlog, there is an additional congestion. So you have containers that are sitting out on the water for months at a time, and warehouses can only bring in but so many per day. Right, because once those containers are offloaded, they then have to be inspected. Right, then they have to be stocked in those warehouses.
Right.
And once it's stocked, then they got to push that inventory out
Right.
to the merchants. Right, so that's why now, family, you see prices increasing so rapidly. Right, you could get a box of cereal, I guess, for $4 before, and now it's what, $8, almost, or damn near $8. Is because what China has done, brother Blacksmith, is tripled the cost of getting those vessels into the U.S. So not just the essentials, as you mentioned, right? They are now forcing higher tariffs themselves on the merchants. So the merchants then in turn flip it to the consumer.
Exactly.
Right? It used to cost $3,500 to load a vessel and get it on the water and bring it here to the States for 35, 30, or 4,000, the max $5,000.
Right.
Now it's 20,000 and beyond.
Wow.
So of course the consumer is going to eat that additional cost. Now that then flows into oil, the prices of gas that's going in. Now you have truckers who are being stifled, right? In and out, in and out, in and out, waiting to pick up merchant product, but they sitting out in the yard themselves for a week or 2 weeks, right? So there's a shortage there. So there's shortages all the way around, and a squeeze play, if you will, is being pushed on the consumer. But how do you fight back?
Um,
Alternatives.
yeah.
Alternatives. So, for example, I don't buy Gucci. I'm good. I'm good on that. I'm good on that. You know, Nike is about to raise its prices through the roof. I'm telling y'all right now.
Well, Sister Keisha, let me say something real quick. As far as that's concerned, again, that's bread and circus. That's for the people. Remember, 85%. I'm going to go back to that again. 85% of the people, not this audience that we got here, not, people who listen to, Khalid Muhammad and anybody like that. We listen. I love going to the thrift shop and buying all that expensive stuff. They got that there too. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if somebody used it before. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is that that's to distract us, so we ain't talking about what we talking about now, because that's what 85% of the people want. Gucci. When we start talking about this stuff, they kind of tune out. Now they on their phone, playing chess, like talking to somebody in the background. They going to focus back in when we talk about Kanye or Jay-Z. It is what it is. Yeah.
Facts, bro. Facts. But, I just hope that our people are preparing for what is happening and what is to come. Save your money as much as you possibly can. Again, like I say, even if you live in a studio, there are certain essentials that you should have. You shouldn't be without. And then you got all this craziness going on with these hit pieces that are being broadcasted all over the place. I mentioned it earlier. I don't know if y'all saw it, but on Showtime, this special they got on Bill Cosby is off the chain.
Wow.
It's a total hit piece. And I mean, it's a 4-part series. They go into, these women who accused him of raping them or sexually assaulting them. And then they talk about his career. Something I found out actually by watching this, I didn't know before, is that the black stuntmen in Hollywood that they have now today is because of Bill Cosby.
Wow.
Because when he was doing I Spy, they didn't have any black stuntmen, and they would have white men in blackface. Yeah, and some of them look real bad. But anyway, he demanded that black men and black women not just work be in front of the camera, but behind the camera. Um, did you guys see it anyway? Did y'all see it? Before I go on.
I did. Let me just say, I want to say something real quick. I just want to touch on that. They got a series, I believe. Don't quote me on the channel. I saw the first episode and I never watched another one. It just started late January, so I'm probably behind one or two. There's a show about Hugh Hefner's life. Have y'all seen that or heard of it? Okay. For those of y'all out there who don't know who Hugh Hefner was, he was the publisher and Playboy of the Himalayas, if you want to call it that.
Right, he's the founder of it, right?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that the person that put Bill Cosby on is the same person that put Dick Gregory on, and that's Hugh Hefner.
Facts. Come on with it, brother. Facts. They used to have a show back in the days, and y'all can catch some of them on YouTube called Playboy After Dark. Playboy After Dark. And they would sit there, and you had a sister, I can't remember her name, but she played in a lot of black exploitation movies. She started out as being a Playboy bunny.
You talking about Leon Isaac Washington's wife, Jane Kennedy?
Not Jane Kennedy. Okay. Not Jane Kennedy. Another sister. She was the first black Bond girl, actually.
I'm gonna look her up.
Yes, look her up. She was the first black woman to play in a Bond movie, but she started out as one of the bunny cigarette girls or whatever. And but a lot of celebrities went through the Playboy Mansion, spent a lot of time there, and apparently, Mr. Cosby used to frequent, if you will. But you can go on YouTube right now and see Playboy After Dark and see him doing.
It says Jennifer Jackson. Is Jennifer
Yes,
Jackson?
I think that's her. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. First black Bond girl.
Okay.
Yes. And she also is in this piece on Showtime. They have her in there as well.
Uh-huh.
Now, one of the things that stuck out to me with this whole thing with Mr. Cosby is that he presented himself as being a doctor, if you will. Getting it, I think later on, and some of the doctors who was in the piece saying, that's the lowest you can get at EDD. I think it was physical education or something like that. But he would approach. I don't want to give the series away for those of you who haven't seen it. Y'all check it out and shoot us a message, text, or whatever, and let us know your thoughts. Brother Ashay, did you see it on Showtime?
Nah, I don't really watch too much of that TV stuff. But it sounds interesting though, especially when you're talking about history. I mean, whether you like it or not, whether you support Cosby or not, that's Black history right there. That's a very powerful player. Especially about what he had going on right before his case went down. He was buying everything up. He was about to take over everything. And it's crazy how stuff like that always happens. I don't know. It's like, even if they had all of that stuff and it was true and all of that, right? Like, why they ain't uncovered? It's like these celebrities are a pawn in the game that these devils want to play. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, when they call you out to make that move, you know what I'm saying? They gonna use you as a pawn to make their next move, but you disposable regardless. You know what I'm saying? So it was like they was covering, even if it was true, they was covering it up until the right moment hit, because just like MJ, Michael Jackson, when he died, he was taking over Sony, all of that. Like, so many different things. This story happens over and over and over, family. You would think like some of these celebrities would get it, because right now, like, even in a time where we have the richest black man in America, Kanye West, so powerful right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's funny. You was talking about documentaries. There's another documentary that's very popular right now is the one that came out about his life. It's called Genius. It's supposed to say genius, but it's spelled genius. But that's about Kanye West. That just came out recently, so a lot of people are watching that too. But it's just funny how when people get in positions of power, it's so much turmoil, especially when black people get in these positions. There's so much turmoil. Like, he's dealing with the divorce of his wife. You know what I'm saying? His wife is not black, so it's like that money could potentially go right to her. You never know what their situation is, because right now, the way he begging every day on social media, like, oh God, he bringing Jesus into it. He said, God gonna bring my family back. I'm like, damn, he must not have had no prenup. You could tell when the man ain't got no prenup signed, because if he had a prenup signed, he'd be like, go ahead, girl. I'm a 10 billionaire. I could get 1,000 women, 1 million women if I wanted to. Now he ain't got no prenup. He's like, Jesus gonna bring us back together. Oh, he bringing God into it now. So, but it's funny because, like, turmoil always happens, right? So you would think these celebrities would understand and learn from the people before them. Bill Cosby, so many other people. They just don't learn. They keep making the same goddamn mistakes, man. Sad, yo. Sad.
I can't help it. I should be dying, but he 100 with it. He's 100 with it. He out here begging, but he got another white woman. He got, but he's still begging for this one.
Yeah.
Hey, I say, check this out. I want you to think about this. I'm just going to give you the scenario. I'm not going to give you any qualifying other points off of what I'm about to say. Bill Cosby's son died almost the same way Michael Jordan's father did around the same time, within 8 months of each other, at crucial points in both of their careers. I'm talking about the people that was the famous, famed, talented person at the time. So when I think about the entertainment industry, and I wrote a book on it, so this is in my book what I'm saying. So it ain't like something I made up last night or, for you in particular. But what I'm saying, that's how I look at the entertainment industry. And when you look at all industries as a whole, they all cartels ran by the same people. So the same things happen in them. Just the level of fame is different. A politician ain't gonna have the same fame as a celebrity, as an athlete, or something like that. Yeah.
I feel
it's funny. It's funny, real quick, Keisha. It's funny you mentioned that too, because you just made me think about Kanye West, right? Like, it's funny now how he's this big fashion. He made so much money on fashion and all this, right? But I don't know if y'all remember, but was it a year or 2 years ago when he was when they were saying that when he first became a billionaire, right? But it was controversy because he was going on every interview saying he was in debt, saying he owed so much money. And we like, how you a billionaire, but you saying you in debt, you owe so much money. What was he doing then? The same thing that he doing. Like, it's a contradictory kind of situation, because back then he was begging and hating, and not hating, but like just begging and throwing so much shade on all of these big fashion houses. Remember, he was saying, oh, this ain't Ralph and all that. He's saying like he trying to get on a level of manufacturing and all of that, the way Gucci's and Louis and all of them. He was saying all of that, right? Throwing all that shade on him. And now what is he doing? Working with Balenciaga, working with the Gap, working with the same goddamn organizations he was just saying was cutting ties and not allowing him in the game. Now what he doing? He got real quiet with that talk. Right now he working with them. He kissing ass hard.
Let me tell you. Let me address that real quick.
And all of that. It's just crazy, bro. Like, these celebrities, man. Like you say, you got to be very careful with all of them, because in one moment they telling you one thing, and it's a revolutionary hell, and then the next situation, if he got all this money and he's a billionaire, he got all this money, all this power, why the hell is he not opening it? I mean, he is now to an extent, but he's still working with the goddamn people, the big ass organizations that he was saying was knocking and against him and not letting him in the door. And now he working with them and stuff. Like, just do your Black family. We just got to do our own things separate. But some people, we don't know how to be separate and just work on our own from the foundation. We want to work integrated.
You can't do it like that, Shay, because when you order, let's say you order, you got to think like a manufacturer. Let's say you order 1 million zippers. There are companies that will order 100 million zippers just so your million don't go out, because it's going to take them 3 months to make them. You see what I'm saying?
That don't have nothing to do with kissing ass, Balenciaga and the Gap ass every second you get and trying to work with them. If you're talking about behind the scenes doing zippers and all of that, that don't have nothing to do with going back and kissing the asses of the people the big organizations use on the Breakfast Club complaining about, and now all of a sudden they're your best friends.
Again, I'm going to go back to what I said, and I'm going to leave it at that. It's a cartel. The cartel owns all the means of production of whatever they put out. You got to deal with those people at the end of the day, regardless of how you go about it, in this system that's about to change any day now.
Well, to me, it sounds like Kanye West is in the wrong goddamn industry. Then maybe he needed to manufacture zippers. Maybe Kanye West need to manufacture zippers then, bro. Because if we keep saying like that, if we keep saying, oh, it don't work like that, and you gotta come work and compromise somehow, goddamn it, we ain't never gonna get free. So we need to, and this is something that we've been talking about for a very long time. Yeah. People are selfish when it comes to what they want to do. We look at our fake ass leaders right now that we got. Umar Johnson is one of them. Selfish as hell. All they want to do is what their vision is. They don't want to play the goddamn position that's needed. They want to play the position that they see in their mind of what they want to do and how the revolution looks like in a dream and what their fantasy is. They want to live out their goddamn fantasy. Look at Polite. At the same time, he's supposed to be a revolutionary. He out here celebrity with white women at the front row of the basketball games. But that might, what you necessarily want might not necessarily be what the people need or what we need for what you fighting for, you know? So we got to get our priorities together, family.
I got you.
Kanye West got the ability to manufacture some. If he can make Yeezys, sneakers, and all of this stuff and be the highest fashion, he made Balenciaga be the hottest fashion brand in 2021. Kanye, that's official. They said the highest grossing and the most popular trending fashion lines. They broke it down in a list. Balenciaga is number one, and that's because Kanye West was solely working with them and pushing it and wearing it all the time. Even though he got his own brand, Yeezy season and Yeezy sneakers with Adidas, and that's not the number one. Balenciaga is the number one.
Right.
But by him using his face. So imagine if he got that kind of power, why is he not even doing it for his own brand or not even doing it for other black-owned companies? You know why? Because we don't want to make no goddamn zippers. We don't want to make zippers. We want the highlights and the glamour and the glitz, and we want to live out our fantasy instead of doing the things that we have to do. You know what it's called? It's called sacrifice. That's why I always say that at the end of every show, I always say the same quote. I say true courage is know how to suffer. A lot of us, we just want to work things out the way we want to see it in our fantasy and our dream. A lot of us, we got the goddamn fantasy version of what revolution is. And that's why a lot of us get caught and we don't really get the true freedom that we want. Because in the end, we put this big effort forth, this big stride, and we fail at the end. We fail at the end. I mean, the great elder, he succeeded in ways, but look, in other ways, he didn't. We have to learn from those losses.
Yes, sir.
We got to learn from those losses. But a lot of us are not studying that because we see this, and when we get into this movement, we got this one vision of what revolution looks like. We got to stop that, family, because we got to be adaptable. If it's going one way and we see that the tide is shifting a way that's different, we can't be that egotistical to say, oh, we're going to still do the same thing that we've been doing 10 years ago. We're going to still do. No, you got to go this. If you got to get another job, another skill, another trade, another career, or step out of the goddamn position and let somebody else do it, then that's what needs to happen, family. We got to manufacture our own goddamn zippers.
Facts. And it can be done. The industry is not that big. I'm telling you all that because I'm in it. It's not that big. You have a lot of us who go from company to company, manufacturer to manufacturer, because it is a tight-knit operation. But it can be done, and people are doing it, right? On their own, not being licensed under somebody else, like Kanye did with Adidas, right? That's different. They're producing it for you, right? Birdman did the same thing. So a lot of them do that. It's the same thing. It can be done. The problem is, as I think Sister Marie said, one of her students, and I think you teach grade school, am I correct, Sister Marie, wearing Balenciagas. Now, why is that? You know what I'm saying? But you have other brands out there that are 10 times better in quality, but we still connected to these brands. It's the brand. And that's what it is. We have to brand Revolution, just like they brand Nike. Revolution has to be branded. And as Brother Ashe said, people think it's going to be easy. Revolution has to be manufactured like a business. You can't get nowhere. There has to be capos. There got to be CEOs, CFOs. The same in Revolution. Everybody played a position in new Black Panther Party or Black Panther Party for self-defense.
Right.
Everybody Bobby Hutton had a position. Seals had a position. You know, everybody had a position, whether you agree or not. Now, people just want to sit behind computer screens and think it's going to just happen like that. It's not. It's not. Revolution ain't pretty. Steve Coakley made it plain. It's not. You have to do some things and be in some places that you are not comfortable. I'm one of them. Trust me, I have to be in places that I ain't comfortable in, but I have my own agenda. Question is, what's your agenda? And if Kanye want to know how to do it, he can reach out to the brother who produced Naga's footwear. He's producing it on his own. He's not under a licensee, right? There's a sister who's making. Oh man, I can't remember
Yo,
her
so,
personal name, but she's producing shoes that are off the chain, ladies. I'm gonna hook y'all up. But go ahead, brother Ashe.
no, real quick, I'm gonna just add to what you're saying because that's the exact same thing that Kanye said. Because in the interview, I don't know if y'all remember, go watch it again, audience. In the interview on the breakfast, or was it the break? No, it was with Sway. He was saying somebody was saying, "Oh, Kanye," but there are black-owned companies that are doing it right now. They're making it. There's black-owned companies that's doing this and doing that. And what was Kanye's response? He said, "This is what he said. He said, but it ain't Ralph though." That's what he
See
said.
what
He
I'm
said
talking about?
Ralph Lauren from Polo. He said, but it ain't Ralph though. See, so that's in the brain. That's psychological. That's something different. You know, that's not even like on a grassroots level revolutionary. We talking about freedom and manufacturing our own. It seemed like to me, he's just talking about in comparison to what the Europeans are doing and trying to be like them and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or working to have something of your own integrated within their system instead of something from brand new from scratch where we own every stitch of the goddamn thing. And not to say like that might not be his long-term goal because he's doing a lot. I'm not gonna take away from Kanye. He's doing a lot, but we already see the direction that he in. We already see it. I mean, look at the family that he created. You know, just look at the people that's around him. Like it's no debating that. So no matter how much you want to say he's doing, it's still a level of contradictory there. It's still a level of integrated thought, and makes me wonder what kind of goddamn Black Future Month you want. What would a Kanye West Black Future Month look like? You know what I'm saying? Because to what I see, what he doing, a couple months from now, it ain't gonna be no Black Future. It's gonna be a goddamn National Geographic mixed. It's gonna be a mixed future month. That's what it's gonna be. So we got to be very careful about that.
Facts. And for those of you who follow me on social media, because that's why I put it up there. If you saw my story and you saw it on our Thorough Black Talk page, I posted some sneakers that I got from a black manufacturer. And when I tell you the quality of his footwear is better than what you used to, trust me when I'm telling you on this. Take it from someone who's knows behind the scenes, ins and out of the footwear business and apparel. I'm telling you. And if you have membership, the membership pays for itself. You get free pairs off the rip. You get free pairs. You get exclusives that nobody getting. You get a percentage. I think it depends on the level of membership that you have. I get 50% off of everything forever. And that includes sales. So if something is on sale for 50% for $35, I'm getting 50% off of that. So my membership already pays for itself. Point blank and the period. And he got styles out the wazoo. Or you can shop with Naga's footwear if you like that style. Totally up to you. It can be done. So I don't know what Mr. West is talking about here. And as Ashe, well, I do know what he's talking about. As Ashe said, he said it ain't Ralph.
Yeah.
But again, if you want better footwear that you paying for, what you paying for now, and some less, follow Rock Deep Footwear. I'm just telling y'all. See what you like over there. You might listen. He got hundreds of styles. You might not like what I choose, but I choose for me. I'm a sneakerhead. I choose for me. However, he got hundreds of styles you could choose from, and get a membership because it's gonna pay for itself. If you now, I think he cut the membership in half. I think it's like 150. Started out as 300 for the gold membership. You get percentages off. You get 2 pairs free off the rip. So if a shoe costs 150 and you pay 150 for a membership, it paid for itself already off one pair. So it's totally up to you. You know, y'all do what y'all want. But anyway, here on Thorough Black Talk, we try to give you alternatives. And I'm gonna put y'all on. Y'all like the fedoras? I'm gonna put you on how you could get into that business. I'm gonna put you on next week. Not only do I reason why I promote these businesses is because they promote our people. A lot of the styles you may see on Rock Deep, local kids helped him design these. And
Wow.
guess what? When you purchase a pair, they get half the profits. They get half the profits. You can check it out. You listen. Hold on. Let me pull up something. Hold
on. I just beat me. Yeah. This ain't about nobody
else. These are called the Mother Africas.
I don't give a fuck about nobody else. I just beat me. If I can keep beating myself, pause. If I can keep doing that, then that means that I'm in a battle with the only person that fucking makes sense. I'm in a battle with the only person.
Those are the Sojourner Truths
that I really want to fucking beat, and that's me. For me.
You know, you check out your leisure, whatever you want. You got stuff for days. I mean,
show what your small business sells in 7 seconds. Show what your small business sells in 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I found it. I want you to meet the baddest motherfucker in town. Right on. Go ahead.
Who is it? Well, it's Grand Pooba, honey. With my man Stud.
I got my Sojourner Truths on the pre-order. I'm getting them. And like I said, you know, all of his stuff is named after something in Africa.
Okay.
You got the Motherlands, you got the Sojourner Truth, you got the Mansa Musas. I have Mansa Musas. But again, he helps a lot of young people. In fact, he'll be on this show in the near future. He will be on Thorough Black Talk. I already reached out to him and he gonna come on. And like I said, the pairs that I had in my story earlier yesterday or the day before, those were my free pairs. And they ain't the ones I paid for. Those are the free pairs. So I'm just saying, don't tell me it can't be done. Don't tell me you can't do it. Don't tell me it's not the certain quality of a Ralph Lauren. It's better than Ralph. I'm telling you this. And then, you know, on top of that, he does a lot of collabos for people in the industry, in the art world. Not just, he don't just sell shoes, he sells tactical gear. You know what I'm saying? For those of us who are into that lifestyle, he got the tactical gear for you as well. So again, and then next week I will show you ladies and brothers how you could get in on S&P accessories and make that a side hustle for you. I'm gonna put you in on the manufacturing. I got the 411. So we about to be out of here, brother Shay, brother Blacksmith. First, your final thoughts and comments.
Yeah, just like I always tell the people, you know what I'm saying? My name is Flavius Jones on Facebook. Y'all free to, you know, look at my page at any time. I will put a blog out every other day. That's on www.goodchiba.blogspot.com. I want y'all to love and respect each other and know we're going to be victorious. I ain't going to keep it long because I know we're running out of time. I'll pass that back to Brother Ashe.
Yeah, and you got to remember too, bro, to put the link to your books and all of that in the chat so that people could check it out too.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, but yo, I just wanted to say too before we get off to Master P, yo. If a lot of y'all don't follow Master P, man, Master P been pushing entrepreneurship for years and years, and he got his own sneaker line. It's called Maniati's, something like that. But it's 100% Black owned. Not only do he got a sneaker line, he push everything. He got rap snacks. I know y'all seen him in the corner store. The potato chips, 100% Black owned potato chip brand. I even put pictures of rappers on the goddamn cover of the packaging. You know, he got cereal. He got hot soil. He got all kind of different stuff. So Master P is somebody I definitely salute when it comes to that black entrepreneurship. And not enough people be supporting him even or talking about. He don't get the props that he should get. He don't really be getting it. You know what I'm saying? But he getting it. He's selling his stuff. You know, he doing his thing. But in comparison to Kanye West, you know, the Manatis, Master P, he ain't go with Adidas. You know what I'm saying? He got, and don't get it twisted. I own Yeezys. I like the way they look and all that, but I'm just saying, like, you can be somebody that's saying you want power and all of this and Black Future Month and all of that, but then the sneaker brand that made you rich, you is 50-50 with it. It's being manufactured by Adidas. You know what I'm saying? Unless apparently, I hope maybe he's trying to get into the manufacturer to make his own, but at this point, they already own half of the goddamn design. Matter of fact, some of the Adidas, the Yeezys that he has, is actually just a revamped version of a previous Adidas. Like one of those sneakers that I actually own, I think it's the 500 Yeezy. The whole bottom of the sneaker is an old Adidas Kobe Bryant sneaker. And Kanye just changed the top of it, but the whole bottom was an ex Kobe Bryant sneaker. And he just revamped it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it is what it is. Like I said, I ain't throwing too much shade on Son because he is he's a genius when it comes to certain things, you know, as things he doing with the fashion and, you know, groundbreaking and things of that nature. But let's just be fully, you know, let's do as much as we can. And just, we always on our show, we trying to promote self-improvement, you know. So that's just some things that if we really serious about this and taking over the manufacturing, you know, then we can't be complaining and trying to jump on a bandwagon of the oppressors. We got to know that we got to make some sacrifices and we got to really focus on getting everything 100% Black on. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to promote. But besides that, so till next week, you know, we holding it down for our brother Tad, who was not in, but you know, it's always better days ahead. You know, our brother Tad, if you watching, hold your head, bro. And it's your brother Ashe SJ. Like I always like to say, true, it's a Haitian proverb, African proverb. True courage is knowing how to suffer. And remember, the battlefield is where you stand. Your brother Ashe SJ signing out. Sister Keisha.
Family, again, we thank y'all for tuning in with us each and every week. We truly appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button on whatever stream that you're watching from. We really, really appreciate it. Again, we enjoy our brother Blacksmith coming in to sit in and chop it up with us.
Anytime. Anytime.
Facts, because I got direct connect. Yes, but, you know, y'all keep your head up. Keep your wisdom up. Always study your history. We are making history every day. We are Black history. It never ends. As long as we breathing and producing, our history never ends. So again, we'll see you back here again on the Brooklyn Bridge. Thursday at 8 p.m. We out, y'all. Stay safe.
All right. Peace. Peace, y'all. Peace.